unknown, down the rabbit hole, where it stops no one knows. We're going head into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
Well, hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Criminality. Or if this is your first time here, welcome to Criminality. Thank you guys for being here. We're starting a bit later today because court did not actually start very early. I don't know what they were doing behind the scenes, but hold on. I've got like a weird echo from my phone here going on. Let me get rid of that. And so court started a little bit later. We'll probably catch up with the minimal effort today, just FYI. So we have the defense had postponed their opening statement until their case. So we have their opening statement, and we're hearing that Zach is saying he's going to testify. So that'll be interesting, and that he's going to testify and say that he did it, but not be able to say why he did it. I don't know how true that is. That's what the articles are saying. I don't know. I will watch it together and we'll see. Is anybody here following Karen Reed? Because I'm hoping somebody in chat might give me a synopsis of what happened in the hearing today, because I'm hearing it was, and I haven't had a chance to watch it. I'm hoping that somebody can give me a skinny on what just transpired in Karen Reed, because I'm hearing it was a big deal. I don't know. So maybe if we do catch up or we have some time today, I might hop over and watch some of that Karen Reed. Bev had a meltdown. I'm hearing it was like a big deal. So I typically will watch them on replay. Haven't watched either. It ended with the judge being pissed. Haven't watched Curious though, sort of. Okay. Yeah, so maybe if somebody pops in, they can either give us the skinny on it, or we'll pop over if we catch up on today's testimony, because I want to see I want to see what happened in Karen Reed, and I'm not exactly sure. Okay, let me get the screen up and sharing. Brennan basically that the defense lied about the relationship with ARCA. What? Commonwealth presented that the defense talked to ARCA before trial. Okay. Are they saying like they had a conversation that they didn't disclose, or? Oh, okay, Scale. So apparently defense spoke with ARCA before the voir dire testimony, but didn't disclose it to the Commonwealth. Huh. Hi, Marshall. Hi, Aaron. Okay. Yeah, I'm curious about what that's about, because like I said, I heard that she was mad about something. They weren't supposed to talk to them, but they're talking about that they had a conversation with the ARCA reps prior to their testimony in the first trial, or that they had some conversation between these two trials. I mean, what's she going to do about them having a conversation before the other trial? She's going to just hold them in some form of contempt? She can't really declare any type of mistrial or anything, so I'm trying to figure out like what she's going to be able to do about that. Yeah, the crash daddies. ARCA is the company that the DOJ had hired to do the not reenactment. That's not what but I guess that's essentially what it is. That's not the right word. I'm not feeling great, and I took NyQuil last night, and so my brain is still like, I'm not a big medicine person, so my brain's still like, what are you talking about? But that's the company that the DOJ hired to do the reenactment of the accident with John, and then they testified at the trial. But it's not happening now, so she can't really. I mean, she can. What is she gonna? She can fine them. Is she gonna try to kick them off the case like Goal? What is she gonna do? I hate the NyQuil hangover. I do too. That's why I don't like taking medicine at all. But I'm not feeling great. Revoking their privileges as the defense attorneys. Oh, Lacey, you like Delphi? You're gonna fucking love Karen Reed. You're gonna love Karen Reed. You're gonna love Karen Reed. It's just it's legally, it's just such an interesting case anyway. And then you have the rabbit holes of what the hell actually happened to John. I've been told I can take over the world. I don't think they really mean that, Snappy. I don't think you really can. Okay, let me get this. I haven't even shared my screen or anything yet. Maybe we'll have to do a separate thing on Karen because I'm very curious. See Bob and Allie's tweets for legal. Okay. Hold on. Let me pop over to Twitter real quick. Twitter doesn't want to load. There it is. Let's look at defense diaries. Or was it Allie that was tweeting? Oh, he typically retweets her anyway, so. So Karen Reed update. Judge Cannoni appears visibly rattled after prosecutor Hank Brennan raised potential discovery violations regarding the ARCA experts. It appeared to me that Alan Jackson's Pro Hac Vice ticket is in serious peril, which translates into Judge Cannoni removing him from the case. If this occurs, this would obviously delay trial. So because he's actually, he's only able to defend her because of the request to represent in Massachusetts, because he's a California lawyer. I think he's licensed in a few other states, but he's not licensed there. That's really interesting. So are they blaming Alan Jackson then for doing it? Hi, Sleuthy. Okay, so let me see. Carlos says, I don't know anything about Karen Reed. There's no way AJ would ever risk Karen's defense and his reputation. It'll be a nothing burger. Hank misrepresented things. Well, that would not be a surprise, Pebbles, at all. They only showed about 10 total minutes of Zach Hughes today. All of it has been behind the camera. Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. So in my opinion, the Karen Reed stuff is getting very blown out of proportion and misinterpreted. Like, very much so. Well, that's kind of what I'm wondering. I don't see how she's going to be able to, she's going to kick him off the case. AJ was asked outside if he paid for ARCO, and he said, of course not. Well, I mean, he didn't. The DOJ hired them. That's already, I think that's already settled. Someone from the defense team also put up a Facebook post saying that they only paid for the travel expenses. Not surprising because they were actually testifying for the defense. What about Judge Goal? She's not getting to let them have their hearing. What a disgrace. Oh, what about Judge Goal? I know. Yeah, Judge Gold did exactly what everybody thought she was going to do and denied everything without hearings. If she's not anything, she's at least consistent. I know, Aaron, I'm like, there's just a lot going on around the true crime world. I don't think we expected Gold to offer up a hearing for anything. She just doesn't give two shits about anything. She's just like, shut up and leave me alone. Did you guys watch Andy Baldwin on Defense Diaries last night? If you didn't, you need to. It was very interesting. He said that the response that he got from Nick was essentially like nana nana boo boo, because you already had your shot and you didn't take it. So I don't really give a shit about what you want. That was me paraphrasing Andy Baldwin. But Nick was like, too bad. I don't care what you want. You know, you had your chance and you didn't use it. So your guy got found guilty. It's done. Leave me alone. Yeah, I was actually like 20 minutes behind the whole chat, so I didn't chat because the comments I had wouldn't have made sense to anybody. Hi, Smoothie.
Hi, I'm glad you're alive.
I am alive. I am alive. I'm alive.
Did you
Man,
catch the sickness, or did you
no,
just
I
sleep?
just took some NyQuil last night because I feel like under the weather and I was like coughing and stuff, but I'm not like, I don't have a fever or anything. So I took NyQuil. The last 2 nights I've taken NyQuil and it's just really fucking with my head. I don't know if it's just from talking so much on here because I don't talk this much, you know. In real
You've been
life, I
doing a
don't
lot, like
I
being
don't
over the
talk a
top.
lot.
Yeah. Well, and you've been on here for like whole days, like for a whole week, and so that's a lot too, really.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm an all or nothing kind of girl. I'm either on here
Yeah.
every day, all day, or I'm not on here at all.
I can't say. I think it's been like 2 years since I've done a live on mine, so I can't say nothing. Um. So I just want to explain because I watched the hearing, and unfortunately, it's going to be a week before we get it situated. And the problem with that is that I do believe it was misinterpreted or misrepresented. And now the media is going to spend an entire week continuing to misrepresent it. And when it gets fixed or explained, and it's like not as big a deal as everybody thought, like it's not gonna matter because everybody's been up in arms for a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird because she was just like, I don't know what the fate of this is going to be or whatever the outcome of this is going to be, you know. But I
Yeah.
think that I'm like, okay, what do you? I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing, so I was like, I watched that little clip and I'm like, what the hell? Okay.
So listen. So he spent however much time repeatedly saying that he received information from the federal government, basically that he had like applied for TUI, it got denied, blah blah blah, and then out of nowhere he got emails and a bill, emails between Alan Jackson and one of the ARCA witnesses, and he read some of those, and a bill for like 23 grand.
For what?
I don't. It just said a bill. Like it didn't specify like what, like whether if it was a retainer or whatever. I think he did make mention of like them saying to send a like an engagement letter or whatever. So that could have been like a retainer or whatever it might be. I don't know. And before she called a recess, she was like, what's the date on those emails and the bill? And he said, there are no dates. And immediately I was like, huh? Like, why is it
It's
even
an email.
relevant?
Why would there not be any dates?
How, like, what are you? So, like, you got emails and there's no dates? That doesn't make any sense. Especially not if it come from the federal government, like you're saying. So, anyway, she leaves for recess. She comes back. And when I say, like, fuming and, like, also dramatic to the point where, like, you would have thought the world was crumbling around everyone, like she was going to boot everybody off the case. Like, it was really dramatic, really. And she's like, she's like, I'm gravely concerned. And I'm thinking, this is kind of crazy because, like, you've never been gravely concerned. And, like, we've been in situations like this before, number one. And number two, she says, the information the Commonwealth just gave me, which I'm assuming is what he said in open court, not, I don't think anything happened on the recess, might have serious, like, implications or whatever and profound effects on the defense. So then all of a sudden he says, I think that there's a chronology that the court needs to be aware of, right? And I'm like, okay, I love a timeline.
Yep. Yeah. What is it?
Like, we should have gotten that, like, to begin with. So long story short, December 4th of 2024, so well after the trial,
Okay.
Hank sends a TUI request. And I believe it was in
What are they
January.
TUI requesting?
Well, see, that's what I'm confused about because, like, I don't know what he's not understanding about the fact that, and I said this when I saw his notice to exclude, that he intended to exclude the ARCA witnesses. And I'm thinking, what is he even talking about? Like, this should be well established that both sides were provided like something like 3,000 pages from the feds, and everybody got the same everything.
Right.
And when they testified, they were only to testify to what their report was, which was provided to both sides,
Right.
that they testified to in the federal case. So
Okay.
I don't know what he
But
was like.
ARCA isn't government. They were paid by the government, but they're a private company.
Right. Well, he kept saying, so basically his whole thing was these unbiased and independent witnesses. And basically what he was trying to say was that the defense or whatever is trying to play off these experts as unbiased and um, like not on either side and just independent of the defense and the prosecution here. And what he was implying was that they weren't, that they had discussed their testimony with Alan Jackson, that Alan Jackson paid them. So going into their testimony, the jury was led to basically believe that they were independent of everybody, and they weren't. So,
But Alan
but he,
Jackson said he did not pay them. They
well,
testified that they were not paid by the attorneys.
correct. So I was like, immediately, I was like, okay. So he's not only saying that the federal government provided emails and a bill that shows that not only did Alan Jackson lie to the court, but also that ARCA witnesses lied under oath. That's a pretty big accusation, right?
Yeah.
So when they come back and she's like, we'll reschedule this for a week.
Why? Why not
And
just talk about it right there? What was Jackson's response to the whole thing?
she didn't let them respond.
What?
Yeah, she just was like, I'm going to give everybody a week so that when we come back, everyone can be fully prepared for like what their arguments are going to be or whatever.
Why? What if it's just a simple, this is what happened?
Well, the world gets to stew on it for a week. And the media can write, seven articles
Why
each
didn't
for the
they
rest
say,
of the week.
defense, are you prepared to talk about this right now? Like, do you have anything you'd like to add? And then, we can take this matter up in a week. Like, why wouldn't she even give him a chance to say that's not the case and this is what it is?
Well, Emily D. Baker was basically saying that she probably was doing them a favor in the sense that had she been that angry with them and demanded an answer as, right when it was happening, as she was so angry, that it probably wouldn't have been fair. But it's like, but then when I tell you what his chronology was, in my opinion, he got her that angry for no reason.
Okay, say it.
So he's given this chronology, and he says that in December 2024 he put in a TUI request, and he said that the reason why was because like it didn't seem right to him, what was said about how they hadn't spoken it to them, about their testimony or anything, blah 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 blah. He's like, having some experience with the federal government, I thought there might be more to the story, so I did this TUI request, and he was denied. And then the AG's office reached out to both sides in February. I think he said February 6th of this year, and said, like, ARCA's no longer under contract with them. So if they want to, like, if either side wants to engage their services, they can, but that all of their original stuff is still under, like, it's still under a protective order. Hold on.
Okay. But they don't need to engage their services because they've already completed the work. So is somebody looking to get them to do it again?
I don't know. I would imagine that if, let's say, the defense wanted them to be able to talk about more of what they did, and that stuff is under a protective order, then yeah, they may have to. I don't know. So,
Uh, I still think that she shouldn't be so emotional. She's the judge, so she should
oh,
just
she was big
she
time
should. I
emotional.
did. That's the clip I watched. It was just her saying whatever she said about the outcome of everything and how. Yeah, she was like she couldn't even breathe.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I saw. So I didn't. That's why I was asking the chat, like, what was she so pissed about? Because
Well, that's the representation that got her that angry. What I had just said, that the federal government provided these emails and the bill, and it looked really nefarious. Okay.
well,
So,
that's why I'm like, I don't even understand why we don't just ask the defense, like, okay, what is this?
well, so when he was giving the chronology, he ended up saying, so the feds reached out to them and said that, and then like on the 13th of February, he filed his notice that he intended to exclude the ARCA witnesses, and 3 days later, the defense provided him these emails and the bill. So immediately, I'm thinking, okay, so then what that sounds like to me is that after the 6th or whatever, when they said they were no longer under contract and that they could, engage their services or whatever, that the defense reached out to them so they could discuss. Because here's the problem: based on what she said at the first trial, like, they were not allowed to discuss their testimony with them. They were not allowed to, like, the reason she let them in was because the defense had not had any conversations with them other than, like, to arrange their, um,
Right, transfer.
you know,
They're getting there. Yeah.
correct,
Hotel. Yeah. All that. Yep.
which could be what the payment was for. Um, but it could have also been, like I said, that after the February 6th thing, they reached out to them, the defense reached out to them and hired them so that they could discuss more in detail the stuff and then be able to see. Because if they
After the
discussed
6th of December.
February of this year, see, the problem is that Brennan's
Oh, right now.
yeah, that's how I took it. But until we know the date of the emails, then we won't know. But
Okay.
she didn't say, like, she, like, so here's my thing: is if they were providing him reciprocal discovery like he asked on his February 13th thing. See, because you have to remember, so he filed that intent thing on February 13th, and then he's saying now that the defense provided these emails 3 days later. The date is irrelevant if all they're doing is providing reciprocal discovery, saying this is what they're going to testify to, this is the discussion that we had, this is what they're going to testify to.
Right, which is why I don't know why she wouldn't just let Alan Jackson say that right then.
I don't know, but she did sound a little like surprised and taken aback a little bit to then be told that it was from the defense versus the feds. Because she was like, "Can you give me, before you leave the courthouse today, any of the documents or whatever that you got from not from the federal government?"
God, she's such a fucking windbag, man. I don't understand. She's
I think
ridiculous.
he misled her. I think he misled her. He got her all worked up, and then he corrected it. But at that point, it didn't matter because she was already furious. She
Well, she
already said what
shouldn't
she
be
said.
so emotional. Like she needs to just fucking like maybe she postponed it because she was so emotional and she's like, I shouldn't be so emotional. And
I
I
think
should
that's what she did. Like, I think that she knew that she was not going to be fair. But I'm of the opinion that she is a judge and she shouldn't have gotten to that point just simply by
I
hearing one
agree.
side say that they got emails that were undated. I mean, they were undated.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous to get so upset about it. And then if it comes back that it's such a simple answer, oh my gosh.
And here now
Ugh.
you've postponed it for a week because you allowed yourself to become so angry just from only hearing one side of the story. Like, in my opinion, when he said that it was actually from the defense that he got that stuff, like, if that were me and I was the judge, I would have been like, okay, that's entirely different than what you just said to me that I just spent 15 minutes in recess
Right.
pondering.
Did she even acknowledge that he said it?
Nope, not other than to say that he needs to give her the stuff that he got not from the federal. She didn't say the stuff that the defense provided you. She just said the stuff you got not from the federal government. I 100% think he purposely misled her. He spent much of the day talking about the defense like not providing full details of things and true and accurate representations, and he doesn't want better out. So he acknowledged that he basically that the defendant has a right to counsel that she chooses, right? So he's
Right.
like, this is not an opposition to Betterow being added. Um, he's like, but there's some things you should be aware of. And he went on to say that Betterow is also Turtle Boy's attorney, and essentially that they violated um, a protective order on discovery, and that it was so bizarre because he basically was implying that like Betterow is in line, I guess, with like witness intimidation and harassment of the witnesses in this case, and that by allowing him to then come in and see protected uh materials like things that are in Karen's case under a protective order for these witnesses, that somehow that's going to make a difference and encourage him to provide. I guess what he was trying to say was that if he sees it, then he's going to tell Aiden about it. That's kind of how I took it.
Oh, because he's an unethical attorney, but has no stance to say that he's an unethical attorney.
Yeah, basically. So he's like, I'm not objecting to it. And I'm thinking, yeah, you're not like officially objecting to it because you know that like that would be violating her rights. It's just bizarre.
All right. Well, I need to. I was planning. I need to do a because I typically I try to stream a lot of the hearings and stuff, but I haven't done Karen Reed's or Idaho Force for a while. I
Mhm.
need to do like a catch up on both of those cases, so maybe we can do something with that and try to figure out just to get everybody caught up from where we left off to where we are now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's the gist of everything. I have a feeling that next week we're going to find out that this was not how it was represented.
God, I fucking can't stand Brennan, dude.
I know, I don't either. And to be honest, like Jackson handled it really well. I would have been absolutely furious. Like I would have been ready with the fucking email dates. I would have been ready to explain it, but she did not allow them. I would be filing whatever kind of motion I possibly could right now. Like I would literally be in the car typing on my computer a motion for like
I'm sure they
sanctions.
are. All right. So we'll have to figure something out about doing a catch up on Karen Reed from then till now. So we have not started the Zach Hughes day 5. They were all off camera for the first couple hours of trial today.
What?
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, we barely have anything to watch.
Why? What?
So we're gonna start with the defense does their opening statement because remember they deferred till their time. But the article I read that popped up said that Zach has said he's going to testify.
Yes.
And that they're going to tell the world that he did it.
What?
But they can't tell the world why he did it.
What?
Right. I'm like, this is, yeah. So it's like he's going to testify and tell the world what happened.
What?
Aaron, no, I haven't seen everything on Twitter. I barely just pulled up Twitter for looking at defense diaries.
I want to hear their opening statement.
So yeah, so essentially that's the pre-show of what I already know. So you guys are on board with what I know beforehand. That's what I'm hearing.
I wonder if they blackmailed him.
Well, I don't know. He's not going to be able to say that he did it because he thought the kid was in danger.
Well, then it's not going to matter. Why is he going to sit? I feel like you could be punished for coming to trial.
He's going to say he did it because
we can't
of the
assume that it's from the CSAM. I want to hear their opening statement.
So
you're saying in the opening statement?
All I'm telling you is what I've already heard so that you guys know what I know. That's it.
Wow.
Other than that, I've not listened to any of this. I just read that article that popped up on my phone and I was like, oh shit. So, yeah, we're going to start together. And like I said, and then they take a big break after that. And then they finally start putting on witnesses.
I guess that would explain the multiple hours off camera, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. See, this is the thing. If he's going to go up there and admit that he did it, then I don't understand why he wouldn't have taken some type of plea deal or been like, dude, you guys, we already knew this. Look at here's the information. Here's everything we knew. But even still, I mean, it's going to be a tough sell to say he went in there and stabbed her over 30 times.
Yeah. Well, it was.
And then is he going to admit that obviously him and Mello then talked about it? Because if he's going to say this, then how does he not implicate Mello?
Because maybe it wasn't Mello.
He just did it on his own?
Well, maybe it was somebody else.
All right.
I don't know.
All right. I don't either.
Had a nice rest and break. As I've indicated before, I do need to ask you, has anyone seen anything on news, done any kind of investigation, found out anything about this case?
Can you hear it? Okay.
No one from the jury has indicated they have.
What?
Can you hear it? Is there sound? Okay. He's not talking into the mic. He's just talking to the jury.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's our turn.
Yes, I do.
Mr. Moore and I have been waiting for a long while to be at this point. I was going to say it's been a week, but it's been longer than a week. It's been years. Our client, Zach Hughes, has been waiting for a lot longer than that. He's been waiting over 3 years, some 3 years and 3 months. As Mr. Mormon told you at the outset of this case, we are honored and privileged to be representing Zach. You can hear about Zach in the next day or two. You can hear that he's a very gifted and accomplished young man. He is 32 years old now. He was 29 when this happened. He's from a wonderful family. You've probably seen them seated back here in the courtroom throughout this trial so far. You're going to hear a little bit about his life. He was born in California. When he was still a boy, his parents took Zach and his brother, moved him to southwestern Virginia, where they moved into a small farm, and then they took on 5 orphan children who lived there with them. And you can hear that Zach was homeschooled. He learned the value of hard work and discipline as he grew up around the family farm. He helped his young siblings. His family moved to Greenville when Zach was a teenager. In Greenville, he finished high school, being homeschooled still. And you'll hear that his hard work and his discipline paid off, and he was accepted into a very fine college with scholarships. He went on where he studied music, and he won piano competitions. His emphasis was on piano performance. As an adult, Zach has had an accomplished career performing classical music and even recording classical music. So this is the time now for our case and for Zach to testify. But understand, ladies and gentlemen, that we have no obligation under the law or the Constitution to be doing this. This case actually could be over when the state rested. The state has the burden of proof of proving this case in every element of every charge beyond a reasonable doubt. We would not have to put up anybody. Zach wouldn't have to testify. Wouldn't have to put up any witnesses. In fact, if Zach were not here, his honor would instruct you that you couldn't use that against him. But we are going to do so. And Zach is going to testify because Zach has been waiting for this opportunity to tell a group of people like you what really happened, which is that he took the life of Christina Parcell. And crucially, he's been waiting and wanting to tell you why.
What?
Oh my God.
What? No wonder the defense didn't want to. I mean, I personally think that's great that, like, if I were in a place where I was going to fight this, I would want to do my opening right before my case in chief. But now I'm thinking this is different than what I thought they were doing it for. I'm thinking they did this because they didn't want them to hear all the evidence after they said that.
Oh my gosh.
Wait,
This isn't even a
rewind
closing.
again?
This is his opening. This is his opening statement.
Yeah. Yeah. He said that Zach's going to rewind it again for me. He said, because it cut out, it said something about that he took the life of Christina Parcell, and then it like cut out and I didn't hear what it said.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Have to put up any witnesses. In fact, if Zach were not here, his honor would instruct you that you couldn't use that against him. But we are going to do so. And Zach is going to testify because Zach has been waiting for this opportunity to tell a group of people like you what really happened, which is that he took the life of Christina Parcell. And crucially, he's been waiting and wanting to tell you why.
Crucially? That's a strange word. That's a strange word. You've muted yourself. Is that not a strange word to use?
Crucially, to do it to a group of people like you, and crucially, why?
Yeah, what is that? Am I tripping that that's a weird word? I'm 6, so that could be.
I don't know. This guy's kind of weird. I don't even understand how you just go and say, this is like the weirdest shit ever. Maybe they feel like, you know what? They proved their case, and so this is all we've got left is to just ask for some mercy.
They might understand that, like, no matter fucking what, the DNA, like, that's it. So now they have to come up with a reason why his DNA is there. I don't know. I wonder if it's going to be a self-defense thing. I wonder if they're going to say he like went there to deliver flowers for Mello or whatever, and she bugged out. I don't know. Interesting.
Well, they want to use the SA and CSAM. That's their whole thing. That's why he did it.
How do we know that?
Well, because that's the only plausible thing that they're going to be able to. That's what they've been fighting to get in, but that's also the only plausible thing to get a jury to go, oh.
Oh, you mean to where they might let him go because they think that that's okay?
like a justifiable homicide.
Interesting. I can't believe he said that. Dude, if I was on the jury, I think my jaw would hit the floor. I'd be like, dude, what? Why are we here? I was not expecting that. And and even if he testifies, I don't think they could bring up the CSAM. He's going to object to it, and because they can't open their own door. I think that if he tries to testify to that, they're going to object, and he's gonna whatever the word is. Do I have COVID?
What?
Sustain. He's going to sustain it. I can't think of words. I'm sorry.
I can't think of words today either. I don't know if he was offered a plea. I don't know if he tried to plea. I don't know any of that. I've not seen or heard anything about potential plea deals. But I still don't know. I mean, you'd think that he would have tried for like a, hey, you know, this bitch was doing these things. This is the proof that I do have. Because as of right now, even with Mello or Isabella just saying it, I don't know that I could go. I mean, I don't know if I could just go, okay, you guys are telling me the truth.
I wonder if South Carolina has one of those things where they say it's basically called, like, I guess it's insanity, like where, like, the heat of the moment or whatever. I'll look it up.
Yeah,
Like that
like
some
a
things
crime
can
of
be
passion.
justified. Yes.
Yeah, boo. Yeah, he's pled not guilty. He's pled completely not guilty of all charges. And
But what if it's
essentially,
not guilty by, like, reason of insanity?
well, he didn't plead that either.
Well, how do we know?
Because he doesn't. All of his court appearances, he said he's not guilty.
Yeah, but would we necessarily have to have the reason why? I mean, not guilty is not guilty.
Well, but he is guilty.
But if he's saying that he's not guilty because based on reason, by, like, let's say they say not guilty by reason of insanity, that's not technically guilty. Like, you would plead not guilty.
Yeah, but you'd have to.
Oh, see,
Yeah, I don't.
play it.
Okay.
I'm shocked. I'm startled.
A case like this
I
is
know.
very
Hold on,
important
back it up just a
because it
second.
goes to the heart of the matter. In that he's been waiting the life of Christina Parcell, and crucially, he's been waiting and wanting to tell you why. Now, the why to a case like this is very important because it goes to the heart of the matter, and that is malice. Okay, malice is what makes a homicide a murder. And we heard from the prosecution's opening, as you recall. The prosecution said that Zach was mad. They said he had an angry heart, that he wanted to inject himself into this custody dispute of somebody he knew. But that's not why it happened. And that is not what you were going to hear about why this happened. Now, as we turn to our case now, it's important to realize that we could have handled this case extremely differently. Okay, we could have attacked the sufficiency of the state's case. We could have brought in an expert to talk about the DNA. Okay, we didn't do that. We could have challenged the identification evidence. And I want you to consider the professional from law enforcement, from the state law enforcement division, who testified about the enhancement that they did on the videos and the photographs, and how they were able to use this fancy technology to enhance and to account for the differences between sunlight and shadow and the distance. And after all of that, and after all of the technical work that was done, the conclusion was that the guy on the bicycle was 6'5", a big guy like him.
What?
As you probably noticed, and as you will see, Zach is shorter than I am.
Wait,
On
what?
a good day, I'm 10 foot. I'm
You're 10
6
foot?
foot, 5 foot 10 inches. Okay, he's
What?
shorter than I am. Consider the other professional. There's one who spent a great deal of time looking at the enhancement of the person on the bicycle. And after all that time, what was that conclusion? That this person had a beard, has to be a man. And they enlarged it, and they used again all of that technical information. Take a look at it. This guy had a beard. This is before they had any suspects. Well, what do we know about Zach and what we learn about Zach? He was clean shaven. We know that from a couple of days prior, and we know that from a couple of days after. We could have attacked that. We could have attacked the identification from the neighbor. Because you remember, a neighbor, after 3 years, came into court. And all of a sudden, after 3 years, was able to identify the man whose picture had been on television for the past 3 years. Had never told anybody even that she could identify somebody. And this was somewhere between 8 and 8:15 in the morning. And what you're going to find, ladies and gentlemen, is that couldn't have happened because the person on that bicycle was not even in that neighborhood for at least an hour to an hour and 15 minutes later. But we didn't attack that. We could have done that, and we could have made mountains of objections throughout this trial. And as you heard, we made very few, and we did not do it. And why is that? Because Zach wants to take the stand and tell you what happened. Now, the prosecution has told you that they will prove this malice in this case by showing you that Zach was mad, that he was angry. And malice is a key part of this case because malice is the very essence of the definition of murder. Okay, so what is murder? Murder is the killing of somebody with malice aforethought. And what is malice?
Is this guy a prosecutor or a defense attorney? what is happening here?
So is he saying that the person on the bike is not Zach?
He's just, I think he's saying we could have told you that. We could have brought a DNA guy up here and told you that, about DNA. We could have done this about this bike guy because he's not tall and doesn't have a beard. And we could have tried to discredit this weird nosy neighbor. We could have objected to all of these things, but we didn't because Zach wants to tell you the truth.
But he said that the person on the bike, they said, had a beard and was 6'5".
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, but didn't they find his DNA on the handlebars?
Yes. Well, of his bike. But that doesn't prove,
meaning it could be a different bike.
Yeah, it doesn't prove that the bike in the pictures is the same, even the same bike. They never proved that.
Interesting. I wonder if they're going to say that. I wonder if he's going to say that the person on the bike that they saw is somebody else that's 6'5". Oh, I wonder how tall that other guy was. And did he have a beard?
Oh, Alex?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing is, Zach is a redhead. I mean, I think we all know this by now. So even in that trail cam photo, the lighting you may not have known that he had like 5 o'clock shadow. Like you may not have seen that because he doesn't have like his full beard he has now isn't how he was. Like I showed you guys the videos of him playing piano from May of 2021. And he also had a beard, but it's not very long.
But they said when they say beard, that they could see a beard through the mask and the grainy ass image and shit. Like, I think beard. Did I send you? I think I did.
I think they were stupid for saying the guy had a beard. And I think the nosy neighbor tried to say the guy had a beard. But you can't tell that guy has a beard or not.
I mean, that's ridiculous. Unless it's a super long beard and it's black and it's sticking out from a white mask or whatever.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like, bike guy is the same as bridge guy. They're irrelevant.
Very interesting. So he's basically saying, in order for the prosecution to prove what they've charged him with, they have to prove malice and that he had an angry heart. So essentially, I'm assuming he's going to come up and testify that it was some type of like mercy killing.
He was trying to save the girl.
But that would make you angry. I almost wonder with the cocaine, like I wonder if they're going to try to say something like she overdosed or she went crazy and she attacked him because of the cocaine, or I don't know, man. This is shocking. I wasn't expecting this at all.
Very weird. Yeah, Fluffy Bunny, I'm in agreement with you. I was thinking the same thing, that only the neighbors said beard and the cops said we couldn't tell, but he said, yeah, but I think that one cop, he was like, does he have a beard here? And he was like, no. And he's like, does he have a beard here? And he said, I think so. Like, I don't know. I think the one cop may have testified to that, but I'd have to go back and look.
Oh, that's a good thought. Wonder if, okay, so he did do all that stuff for Mello, the harassment stuff, sending the pictures and all that shit. What if Mello convinced him to like try to solicit her services so that they would
Oh,
have proof, and he did, and she maybe attacked him or something.
oh, that he actually went there because she was the escort, and he was going to try to prove that he could pay.
Yeah.
Okay, tell Travis what's going on. I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay, Travis. So we just are told the defense, what we're watching is them doing their opening statement before their case in chief. And he basically says that he's been waiting. They've been waiting. They didn't really argue the evidence because Zach has, sorry, y'all, like, bear with me. Because Zach has been waiting to tell a group of people just like them that what the truth is. And the truth is that he killed Christina Parcell. And he's going to tell them why. Yeah, he said crucial. It was fucking weird. I don't understand the term. I don't know. It would seem like an odd place for it. Yes. Yep, that's what he said. I can't rewind or anything for you, but we've now listened to it twice. And he said in his opening statement, which he's giving right now, that Zach is going to take the stand and tell them the truth about what happened that day and that he did kill Christina Parcell.
I love Travis. Travis is like, what?
Right?
I knew he would be. I was thinking about him. I was thinking about Travis when this attorney was saying all this.
I think that's my final answer. I think my final answer is going to be something in the realm of maybe in an effort to gather actual evidence that they could present about her soliciting herself, that maybe he went there as like a customer.
Maybe. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. That's as far as we've gotten. So you're caught up to where we are, Travis. It's very,
Because if you think about it, with his stuff under her fingernails, he could argue that like she attacked him, you know?
so he stabbed her over 30 times.
Well, you have to also, like, I was shocked when I heard that, but then when they explained it and like the medical examiner came up, like it wasn't like that. Like when you say somebody got stabbed 35 times, like I'm thinking like
Punctures.
all the way in and out. Like that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
And
I
90% of these were just like superficial wounds. So
I think when they counted it up, she had what, 9? I don't have to go back and look.
6 to 9. I remember something about 6 in the neck on the right side or whatever.
Yeah, then she had the one in the back and the 3 in the one on the left breast, the one on the left, the 2 on the left chest.
Super interesting.
This is a different approach that we've never really seen, so I guess we'll see how this goes.
Wow.
It's first-degree murder. I don't know if they have any lesser includeds. But sudden passion? How do you do sudden passion if he planned to go there and he did all this stuff with taking the bike instead of taking the truck? And
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he was going to do all that because he didn't want anyone to know that he was trying to solicit this woman or whatever, because then she could trace it back to Mello. And they try to claim that like she attacked him and he was defending himself, then especially with the coke there, One could argue she was like high on coke.
But she wasn't, because toxicology shows she's not. But they did try to
Well,
say,
I wonder how fast that's out of your system, though. Like, if she did it a couple hours before he showed up, would it be out of her system? Did she lose too much blood to be able to detect it? You know what I mean?
mm,
They should have asked all that.
yeah, this is, I'm kind of floored. The
Same.
chat's thinking
We
maybe it's
haven't even gotten through like
possible.
his entire.
I think it's possible.
I should
Okay.
leave because I derail you.
No, you don't. You're good. We don't have. There's not a lot to cover in the trial today, so we're good. Talking is the best thing we can do.
Malice aforethought. And what is malice? The prosecution told you it's anger, that is madness, and that is a component of it. The definition, though, it is the killing of a person without just cause or excuse. The intentional doing of a wrongful act without just cause or excuse. And I want you to think about those words, that definition, as you listen to the testimony that you're about to hear in this case. The why to the homicide is very important because it gives insight into the person's heart. In this case, you were going to hear that the why was not jealousy or greed or a crime of passion or some other emotion. You're going to hear that Zach did not act like an angry heart like the prosecutor conjectured. You're going to hear that this was not done for money or any other personal gain or benefit, not to help out any kind of friend. You're going to hear that this was done for a just cause. And that's not malice, and that's not murder. Thank you.
Just cause. I wonder how his family feels just sitting back there, like they're thinking, like, he did it. He's such a great guy.
I would be like, what is a just reason to kill someone? You know, proven obvious self-defense obviously is a good reason. If someone comes at you with deadly force, I don't know. I don't think defending the little girl, I think if the dad would have done that,
I think he'd have a better chance. I agree.
correct, but not this rando.
Yeah.
If that's the way they go, then I think they're gonna lose that. They're saying a long break's coming now. What is the
And
judge saying now? Like after that,
the fact that I don't think he actually had much of a relationship with her. I've gone back and forth. People have, in different places, people have said that he did have a relationship with the daughter. Others are saying that he did not have he only met her once or twice. Dude, I can't imagine that these people are going to be like, you did such a good thing. I can't imagine his family is thinking that we're so proud of you, son.
he doesn't at all look likable to me in any way, shape, or form, and also he has very small ears.
Hey, you leave the small ears alone.
But he doesn't look likable. He doesn't look kind to me. He doesn't
No.
look like he just looks really standoffish.
Right.
You know.
He definitely looks like he could belong to the Murdoch family.
Well, and you have to keep in mind, there's no way, if it stood out to me, there's no way that one witness that said about him being a good guy, like testifying for the state and saying he's a good guy, would stick out to them.
I just can't believe his family's just sitting there going, we support you even though you killed this lady.
Interesting.
He's a vigilante to them. Well,
ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to send you back to the jury room for a moment, and then I will be back with you. I really want to also thank you just for your patience. We've had a lot of legal issues that I've had to take up with you.
And they don't let us listen to this? That's bizarre. Why?
Sure.
Oh shit! I don't know what the hell I just did.
He kicked them out, and now he's...
I hit a button and put me back at the beginning of the live stream. That was weird. What did I do?
What are you doing?
I don't know what I did. I'm sorry.
I think, so he just said that he's going to send them back to the jury room, and now
Yeah.
it's a long break, I think.
Well, they're still in court though, so I was waiting to see if they said anything.
They haven't been letting us watch this, which I don't like. I think that's weird.
Right.
The jury can't see it, so let us see it.
They really want us to be a jury.
I remind you of everything that I've punished you about before, and do not begin any kind of deliberations or discussions about this case. Okay? We'll see you back at 1:30. Thank you.
Okay. Please come in this way.
Again, I ask, has anyone
This Beville?
heard, done any research or any jury?
Did they call Beville back?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Daniel Beville.
It is Beville.
Investigator Beville, you were called in the state's case in chief. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
And my understanding is it correct that you began working for the sheriff's office, Greenville County Sheriff's Office, roughly in 2012? Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you've got a bachelor's degree from Troy University. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You testified about this previously, but briefly tell this jury what units you have served in the sheriff's office.
I started in patrol from 2012 to 2017. That's your standard uniform patrol deputies answering 911 calls, any kind of call for service. After that, I went to specialized investigations from 2017 on to, in there, I went to the Crimes Against Children unit from 2017 to 2019. That's any kind of child abuse, child neglect, child sex crimes. Then after that, 2019 to 2023, I went to the Internet Crimes Against Children unit. That's any kind of child exploitation.
Investigator Beville, you talked about your time in the Crimes Against Children unit. When you're in a specific unit within the sheriff's office, do you receive specialized training associated with that type of unit?
Yes, sir.
Right. And so when you were on the road in uniform patrol, did you receive specialized training related to that?
Yes, sir.
And when you were in the unit of the Crimes Against Children, did you receive specialized training in that discipline?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just a refresher. Beville is the one that supposedly was in the relationship with Christina at some point and was pushing to have Mello arrested, and he's the one who arrested on the harassment stuff. And then Mello says that he was, he at this point he's complaining that the daughter is being SA'd and nobody's listening. And that's because this guy, Beville, who she's got a relationship with, is sweeping everything under the rug and just trying to get him arrested for harassment.
And let me show you. Let me show you Defense Exhibit 65. Just take a look at this for identification only.
Yes, sir.
Investigator Beville, for example, that is the report you drafted for the purpose of the harassment investigation. Is that correct?
It is, sir.
And so this is of the kind of report you would draft, depending on what investigation you were conducting or what tasks you were performing with the sheriff's office.
That's correct.
As an investigator, are you familiar with a phrase called the lead investigator?
Yes, sir.
And ultimately, the lead investigator is just that the investigator on a case who is ultimately responsible for the investigation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And in this case, Investigator Sparkman would be deemed or likely be the lead investigator. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Were you also the lead investigator in another case in connection with this case? Let me ask it a different way. On October the 19th, 2021, did you become the lead investigator in another case?
Objection. State your objection. Objection. This is going to fall under your previous ruling. Okay. I will sustain the objection.
Okay. Your Honor, due to Your Honor's previous order with the restriction, I'm going to move on, and I'm going to move on.
I don't.
See, they can't get into any of this. So
No, but I don't know why they didn't fight to get the SA allegations in versus the CSAM. Like, there was reasons that they were going to the cops in 2017, 2018, 2019, and
it
saying,
must have something to do with post, if that's why they want to keep getting it in.
well, that's the. For me, I'm like, I keep separating the two allegations, because the CSAM, nobody can prove anybody knew about it prior to murder, but the SA allegations, according to Isabella and everybody else, says that the SA was being brought to the attention of the sheriffs and so on and so forth. If all of that is documented, why wouldn't you try to push for that to come in if you're going to go with this type of defense versus the CSAM?
Maybe they can't force Mello or Isabella to come back from Italy to testify to that stuff.
Well, if Zach did it for Mello, wouldn't Mello want to testify for him? But
No, because then Mello would be implicating himself.
not if he just was like, yeah, I was close with Zach. I told him these things. And
Yeah,
then
but he's going to say he did it.
Yeah, but he took it upon himself to do it based on what I was telling him. Because, yes, we were friends, or he was close with Isabella, or whatever their relationship truly was. And then say, hey,
I'm pretty sure the prosecutor could come up with a charge for that.
well, yeah, buggery, because if they're gay, can't have any buggery. You can't have buggery in South Carolina. I don't know. I just think they should have really pushed more for the SA versus the CSAM. And I know, like, you're like, the CSAM is the proof of the SA. I get that too, but I'm just like, if you could get the SA in, and then you may actually have a better chance of getting into the CSAM stuff for the proof of the SA. You know, like, yeah, we, you know, they couldn't prove it necessarily then, but then we know that it was happening. You know, I don't know. I just think that because the essay is documented complaints according to the family, I would think that you'd want to go with that. If you're going to go with this type of defense, that's all that's just what I'm thinking. Is it, yeah, there's no buggery in South Carolina. You cannot have none of that. No butt stuff.
I guess it would just depend on if they were going to go that way. Either way, like if they were going to go with the essay stuff, if they needed to have either the young daughter or Isabella or Mello to come back from Italy to do that, and they won't for whatever reason, then you just can't, especially if you can't force them. Like, I don't know if you could subpoena somebody in Italy to show up and be a witness at trial. I'm pretty sure like no judge would have jurisdiction to do that.
Well, then they should put on any type of communications between him and these other people that have, he's going to
Well,
get on
they
this.
may if he's going to testify.
I was just going to say, yeah, if he's going to testify, they can bring in his communications with these other people.
But the state's going to object. It seems like the judge isn't going to allow it.
So Mello is actually in South Carolina because of his trial for the harassment. Which is actually, I think it's against, I think that one of the victims is actually Post. This is crazy. That's what I think, Mav. That's exactly what I think. Especially for the defense wants to go with he had a reason to do it. Stop going with the CSAM unless you can prove that they knew about the CSAM beforehand.
Investigator Beville, you testified, as you said, in the state's case in chief, and that was just last week, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
And I would imagine you're still familiar with your testimony in the state's case in chief.
Yes, sir.
And I want to talk to you about that testimony. And specifically, I want to refer to a specific portion of it. Do you remember during your direct examination, you testified about mailers and the contents of mailers that you had been provided in the early summer and through the summer of 2021. Do you remember that testimony?
I believe so. Are you referring to the mailers as what I was given by Post and Parcell?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you testified that those mailers had nude photographs of Christina Parcell in those mailers. Is that correct? Remember that?
Yes, sir.
And I've got a transcript. I want to ask you specifically about this exchange. Do you remember being asked by Mr. Wilkins, when you first got these photos, let me back up. Do you remember testifying about the fact there was a website listed on the photographs? Do you remember testifying to that?
Yes, sir.
And do you remember Mr. Wilkins asking you about questions about different fonts and different placement? Remember that?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember Mr. Wilkins asking you this question? Now, when you first got these photos, did you attempt to try to find the website on there? Do you remember that question?
Yes, sir.
And you testified, yes, sir. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
And then do you remember Mr. Wilkins asking you, how'd you do that? And you testified, I just typed the address into one of our computers in the office. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
And do you remember Mr. Wilkins asking you, and what did you find? And you testified that the website no longer worked. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
And then do you remember Mr. Wilkins asking you, so you put belladondigiorno.com escort site and put it in your computer, and you responded, yes, sir. Do you remember that?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
And he asked you what happened, and you said, it just redirected me to another escort website. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
And then then he asked you, were any of those photos on that escort site? And remember, you testified no.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I got an objection. Can I?
I'm almost done. I'm one more line.
I'm gonna let him answer this question.
You remember Mr. Wilkins asked you, were any of those photos on that escort site? And you responded, no, sir. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
And then just one more. Do you remember he asked you, was any pictures or were any pictures of Christina Parcell on any of those websites that you found? And you testified, no, sir. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Oh, did they have photos they found?
Well, did he actually find photos and said he didn't?
That would be interesting.
Well, I mean, the guy wasn't looking at every escort site, so, well, maybe.
I feel like the defense is meaning the escort site that it redirected him to when he typed in that address, if she came up on that one. But there would be a lot of them, I would say. You'd have to go through a lot.
Isn't it true that in the harassment report that I just showed you, Defense Exhibit
Your Honor, I've got another objection I need to make. I need to just put it on the record.
Your Honor, this is,
Ooh.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
He doesn't want whatever's happening here. He's going to ask the jury to leave again. Jesus.
so again, let's pick up where we left off. I had reminded you of your testimony from last week, wherein you were asked the following about typing in this website. And you were asked what happened, and you testified just to redirect me to another escort website. Then you were asked, were any of those photos on that escort website? And you testified, no, sir. And then you were asked, which you previously testified to, were any of the pictures of Christina Parcell on any of those websites that you found? No, sir. You remember that testimony?
Yes, sir.
Isn't she in your report on the harassment allegations?
Your Honor, I'm leading.
Your Honor, he's an adverse witness, 611C. He testified for the state. He's a member of the Greenville County Sheriff's Office. I have every single right to lead him pursuant to 611C.
Your Honor, he is their witness. They call it.
And
In
what-
direct examination. Witness, so I'm going to sustain the objection.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, I'm going to show you Defense Exhibit 65 again. Look at this bottom paragraph. Would you please read what I have bracketed to the jury?
Yes, sir. I photographed the 6 envelopes and the contents of the open ones. The open ones were addressed to Brad Post. One contained black and white nude images of Parcell with the address checklist. The images have a web address of http://belladonna.escort-site.com. I checked this web address and it was not valid. It redirected me to another escort site under a different URL. The other contained several of the same images, but were not in color.
Oh, shit.
Oh my God.
What a fucking idiot. Why would they do that? Wow.
Report that you were redirected to other websites that had the same images that were in those envelopes. Isn't that correct?
No, sir.
Okay. Isn't that what you said in your report?
That's poorly worded on my part, but I meant the other envelopes. Same images were not in color.
What are you saying you meant?
The images that were in the other envelopes, not another website.
The fuck is that about?
So didn't
Hold
you
on.
say that you
The website. Images were not in color.
what are you saying you meant?
Hold on.
Same images were not in color.
Your Honor, he is their witness, they call it, in a
What-
direct examination witness, so I'm going to sustain.
I want him to read that again.
All right.
Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna show you Defense Exhibit 65 again. Look at this bottom paragraph. Would you please read what I have bracketed to the jury?
Yes, sir. I photographed the 6 envelopes and the contents of the open ones. The open ones were addressed to Brad Post. One contained black and white nude images of Parcell with the address checklist. The images have a web address of http://belladonna.digiorno.escort-site.com. I checked this web address and it was not valid. It redirected me to another escort site under a different URL. The other contained several of the same images, but were not in color.
So is
Well, that doesn't even make any sense because he said that the envelopes had black and white images.
He'd already
So-
said that about the other envelope. Why would he be repeating it? And he's putting it after he's talking about the URL.
Correct.
I don't think he's telling the truth here,
I don't
or something's
either.
wrong. This is not. He doesn't sound like he's telling the truth.
No.
it's true based on this report that you were redirected to other websites that had the same images that were in those envelopes. Isn't that correct?
No, sir.
Okay. Isn't that what you said in your report?
That's poorly worded on my part, but I meant the other envelopes. Same images were not in color.
What are you saying you meant?
The images that were in the other envelopes, not another website.
But none of them were in color. So that's a lie.
That you found these on the internet.
Well, no, because he first is talking about that he photographs all the envelopes. I think I see what he's saying.
He said that in the envelope was black and white images that were
Right.
naked.
At first, the only open ones were the ones addressed to Post. The other ones were not opened.
Okay, but
So
the
I
first
think what
one,
he's trying to say is that when he opens the other envelopes, they're also not in color.
well, then that's his fault. That's his. If that's what he meant, then that's his fault for documenting it that way. Period.
Right. Miku, you have not actually missed. Well, I mean, you've missed bombshell stuff, but not any. You haven't missed a lot because they've hardly had anything on camera. So essentially, the defense did their opening statement and said that Zach is going to take the stand and tell the world that he did it and why he did it. But they're not really going to be able to tell anybody why he did it. So they really go into. I mean, if you want to rewind, you wouldn't actually. You could just do these 2 parts because you have just the defense's opening statement. Where they really kind of go into what the definition of malice is and what's in the person's heart when they actually commit the crime. And then this is the only witness they have on the stand. So you really haven't, there's not a lot that you've missed. It's just a big thing that you missed, if that makes sense. So, and this is Beville, the one that they said that she had a quote unquote relationship with. Nobody seems to want to go into what these relationships are in this case, but
Isn't that what you said in your report?
No, sir.
Tell me again what you said. Yeah, please read it again to the jury. Read it again.
Okay. It's okay if I go to the relevant part instead of
Yeah, and I've got a bracket there.
Okay. Photographed 6 envelopes and the contents of the open ones. The open ones were addressed to Brad Post. One envelope, or it just says one contained black and white nude images of Parcell with the address checklist. The images have the web address of http://belladonnadigiorno.escort-site.com.
Okay, I got it now. He says the images have that on there. He's only talking about the images from the envelopes. He's not actually talking about that other part yet.
Right. So then once he starts talking about the actual website, then one would assume that since he's done talking about the images themselves inside the envelope, that you're then talking about the website.
I think he's talking about the contents of the closed envelopes, but I'll keep going.
But the envelope he's talking about now had black and white
one.
photos, right?
Right. I'm going to go back and do it again. He's not necessarily the ex-boyfriend.
It's okay if I go to the relevant.
They don't ever
part instead.
clarify what their relationship was, just that they were close.
Photographed 6 envelopes and the contents of the open ones. The open ones were addressed to Brad Post. One envelope, or it just says one, contained black and white nude images of Parcell with the address checklist. The images have the web address of http://belladonnadigiorno.escort-site.com. I checked this web address and it was not valid. It redirected me to another escort site under a different URL. The other contained several of the same images, but were in color. Now,
The other envelopes. The other envelopes.
The other
Envelopes.
But that's a, so if he has any experience writing sentences, he would have said the others, meaning the other 5 envelopes, because they're plural, there are 5 of them, rather than I was at this website, it redirected me to one other website, and that other website had colored photos.
Right,
I think they were colored photos and they were printed out in black and white. That's what I think.
Also, I think that it's a completely different sentence, and with the punctuation, he's saying, so on the one image that was black and white, it has this URL. He goes to the URL, it's dead, and it redirects him to another URL, and then he continues on talking about the other envelopes as he goes through the envelopes. I think it is poorly written on his part, but I absolutely understand what he's saying.
See, since this is the end of his sentence, I'm taking it as, and you have to figure that the jury is going to be thinking the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Like one way, one the other. Like, I think that what he's saying is that it redirected him to another website, and that other website had the same photos, but they were in color.
Yeah, I think you could totally hear it either way. It's very poorly written, and that's his mistake.
Interesting.
But I think I think what he's talking about is the other envelopes have the colored photos. The one that he had originally looked in had the black and white with the URL that he followed. It took him to another website, and he should have said the second envelope or the remaining envelopes contained the same photos in color. You know what I mean? Like, he should have clarified that, and he didn't. And so, I mean, that's it. That's his fault, and the jury could hear this either way, in my opinion.
Right. I mean, especially when you're not making any further reference to any of the envelopes. You know what I mean? You referenced the envelopes. Now you're referencing the URL. And so I
think all the envelopes are in evidence, so they could easily just look and see, was there one that had black and white with the URL, and then all the other ones had color? Like, I think they would answer that question themselves if they wanted to go that route. Because this whole thing is to impeach this dude and to show that you can't take his testimony for the state seriously because he lied. So maybe on cross, the state will be like, okay, here, let's look at your envelopes. That would be the smart thing to do, but I don't know what they'll do.
like I explained, images,
well, all they have to do is show if the other envelopes had colored photos.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Part instead of
I'm going to have him read it one more time, and then we'll keep going.
Okay. Photographed 6 envelopes and the contents of the open ones. The open ones were addressed to Brad Post. One envelope, or it just says one, contained black and white nude images of Parcell with the address checklist. The images have the web address of http://belladonnadigiorno escort-site.com. I checked this web address and it was not valid. It redirected me to another escort site under a different URL. The other contained several of the same images, but were in color. Now, like I explained, it's poor wording on my part, but I was referring to the other envelopes contained several of the same images, but they were in color. I wasn't referring to another website.
And in your report, you don't distinguish between envelopes and websites, do you?
Like I said, it was just poor wording, but I was referring to just other envelopes had the same images, just in color.
The relevance of this is that they're trying to impeach him and make him a liar. And so he's trying to say, no, I didn't lie. I just wrote that really bad. And so you think I lied because of how I don't know how to write reports. But just because I don't know how to write reports doesn't mean I'm a liar. So the relevance is just that he's a liar.
Yeah, they're also trying to show that she did have actual, ads or whatever, like a website, with an ad for her services or whatever.
Right.
And isn't it true that it is very possible that those images could have been online and just taken down the time you tried to look at it? Isn't that true?
In another website? Is that what you're referring?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I think what the defense really wants to say is that Mello remember what that one wording in that filing, that Mello got these images from her actual escort website and then had them create other escort websites.
See, I think their point is going to be that that the photographs on the website, presumably posted by her, were in color and were printed off and photocopied in black and white.
Right, but my whole thing is why create other, if she's an escort and you already have her pictures on an escort service, why do you need to create anything?
Well, I don't think he created, I think that, well, what do you mean created? I don't think they're saying that he created anything. I think they're just saying he printed off a bunch of copies. I think they're trying to say nobody created the website or posted the ad but Christina. And he printed it off because if you would have just provided the URL for proof, then it could have disappeared at any minute.
But I think they're trying to say that Christina was an escort.
You don't think they're saying she was an escort?
Well, not the state isn't. They're saying that she's not an escort, or if she was an escort prior and it didn't matter. But
Well, of course they're not going to say that.
But in the email exchange or in the WhatsApp exchange, he says, "Great, that's a great picture," and he says, "Thank you."
Yeah, that's weird. Remember we were like, why would and also remember we were like, why would Mello receive an email of the photos?
Right.
Well, he would if he was getting emailed them to her by her.
Yeah, but I don't know if she was actually an escort at any time, but that was what I had. My understanding was that back in the day, that she may have been an escort, but I don't know. Somebody in chat might actually know more than I do, because remember, I wasn't totally blind, but I was pretty blind going into this. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's keep going.
One second.
I mean, the reality is I don't trust any of these fucking people. So I don't think that any of these guys should be around this kid.
Those are all the questions I would ask Investigator Beville in this context. I don't have anything further on her examination.
You want me to please the court briefly? Did you ever find naked photos of Christina Parcell on the internet when you checked?
No, sir.
It's because it didn't exist that you could find.
Not that I could find.
No further questions.
Oh my God, I feel like they're gonna produce naked pictures.
Brittany, no, not in court. It has not been confirmed that she was an escort. It was confirmed that the defendant and Mello created escort sites or escort links for her using these photos to harass her. But the rumor was she was actually an escort beforehand. I don't know if that's true or not.
And the thing with that is, shouldn't they be able to tell, like, who created the website?
Right.
It doesn't seem like they did, because they instead just were like, okay, this like redirected us to another escort website, so this just must be wrong. Like, it must have never existed.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. The whole thought was that Mello took the photos when they were dating, and that Mello took those photos and gave them to Zach, and Zach created escort profiles. That was the state's theory about the harassment. And then they printed off those and sent them around to her neighbors, her work, the bar she frequented, and then to the attorney saying, look, she shouldn't have custody because she's an escort.
But then we found out that these naked pictures were emailed to Mello, and then there's the weird WhatsApp thing where Zach says that it was like a good photo or whatever, and Mello said thank you, which is just bizarre.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
If it redirected to another escort site, then clearly she had to have been or was an escort. Not
I mean, that's
necessarily.
what I think. I think that those sites go down a lot because, like, being an escort is not legal. So, like,
Yeah, but they created the profiles for her.
well, we don't know that because they couldn't find the website, so they couldn't really actually determine. You know, we didn't hear anything about like her emails or anything like that to figure out what she was maybe subscribed to.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that we can't prove that she was ever an escort based on what this testimony has shown us. But I know that what I had heard going into the trial was that she was an escort back in the day. I don't know the factual basis behind whether she actually was or wasn't. Well,
Even if they didn't,
have multiple URLs that they testified to, and they testified to the conversations behind them.
even if they were, so okay, let's say that she did create them, right? It still is the harassment if they printed them off and sent them to all the neighbors and her work and stuff. So, like, regardless, the harassment stuff, even if the escort ads were legit, what the hell? I was a medevac. Even if the sites were legit and made by her, you could still say that they did the harassment by printing it out and sending it to everybody they sent it to.
True, which is all they're trying to prove, I guess. So it doesn't really matter if they created it. So they don't need to prove the created to prove their harassment charge. So it's not necessary. It would be unnecessary testimony. Right. I got you. Yeah. So maybe the defense is going to prove that she was an escort. I don't know.
But again, even if they do,
doesn't matter.
Right. Because they still, let's say they printed off screenshots or whatever of a legitimate site that she created. It's still the harassment. I mean, he's still going down for that.
Right. Well, I mean, at this point, he's saying he's going to admit to all of it. So
this is what I think. It'll be interesting to see.
With her through a website run by Brad Post. They set her up to get proof of what she was doing. Something went wrong.
It could also explain why Post showed up so quickly when she didn't answer the phone. Because maybe he knew she had a date or whatever.
Dang it, 9 a.m.? Shit. Maybe. I don't know. It's so tough when they won't let some of this stuff in. But I guess, I mean, if they can prove that she was an escort and that's what, I don't know. I guess we're going to see when he takes the stand.
There is, pursuant to your previous ruling, I would like to present some information in the absence of the jury.
It's working 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5.
I swear I just thought the same exact thing.
So she was working 9 to 5?
No, the song when I read that.
Oh. I mean, is it inherently harassment? Couldn't they have printed it off to confront her if she was lying about it? Well, I think the problem is that they went about printing them and mailing them to her neighbors, the cigar club that she frequented, her work, her sister's work.
Yeah, I think you get into harassment territory at that point. They didn't just send it to post, you know what I mean? To be like, look what your fiance's doing. Like they sent it to everybody.
Yeah, and if the accusations on all of this were both towards Christina and Post, why would they think that he would care that she was an escort? People have
Maybe they
wondered.
didn't know.
Well, no, because the SA accusations are supposedly towards both of them.
True. I do think that it's possible. So that makes sense to me. If I was told that story, that would make sense to me. Like that he was maybe posting her or for her post, and that's why he showed up so quickly after she didn't answer. Like I would want to see other times where she didn't answer one time when he tried to call and he was like, this is not like her, and he left. If
Right.
you told me that he was concerned because he knew she had a date or whatever, that would make sense.
Connie says, just when I think I know what's going on, I'm back in a what the fuck mode again. This whole case is just, I know. It's a crazy case. I'm surprised it didn't actually pick up more mainstream stuff, like more mainstream like coverage. I think they're going to be about done for the day. He's probably not going to testify till tomorrow. He sends them out of the courtroom again. I think they're going to be done for the day. I just saw him. Where'd he go?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today has been a little bit of an unusual day just because there's been a lot of legal issues that I've had to go over with counsel, and I am grateful for your patience. As I've stated on numerous occasions, I thank you all for your service on behalf of the state of South Carolina. I thank you in Greenville County. I'm going to allow y'all to break for the day. I'm going to ask that you come back at 9:30 in the morning, consistent with my admonition to you all. Again, you are prohibited from watching any type of TV coverage of this trial. Do not do any research on anyone involved in this case. You're not to look at any social media. It's important to this trial, justice and fairness to the defendant and the state, that you only consider the evidence that comes in through this courtroom, and you're not to discuss this case among yourselves. Begin deliberating until I tell you to do so. And lastly, if anyone approaches you to talk to you or ask you anything about this case, you need to immediately let me know, okay? I will see you all at 9:30 in the morning. Thank you again.
Do not go looking for nudes online. I don't even know if the jury's probably like, what the fuck was today? What did we just come out of? What were we doing? What did we do all day?
I can't believe that was the whole day. Like we're done the whole day. That was the day.
That was the day.
That's fucked up. Of course, we finally catch up, and then it's a whole nothing burger.
Yeah. Well, yesterday they didn't have court. Nah, don't be going and looking for any nudes.
Yeah, I feel like whatever they did today, they could have done yesterday on their day off. Like,
yeah. I don't know. All right, let's see. Let's see what I can find here.
The court now where the DNA analyst is wrapping up.
Jesus, that's fucking loud. Turn that down. I don't know. This came out today, but I think it's old news. I want to know. I want to find something about where somebody's talking about that he's just going to get up there and plead guilty.
Up his testimony.
So I had items 2A and 3A. 2A was a swab of tips of fingernail clippings from victim's right hand. Item 3A was swab of tips of fingernail clippings from victim's left hand.
Yeah, we already saw all this. I want to see somebody talking about today. Pretty Lies and Alibi says this is when cameras were off, said that the state says the defense called the investigator to impeach his testimony, and they had the opportunity to on cross, but the judge is going to allow the questions to Beville anyway. Also, he filed an emergency protective custody for the child to be removed from her aunt's home due to imminent harm. So he did. He got the daughter out. Remember, we were trying to figure out why, but he's the one who took over that case on the 19th, and so it makes sense that that timing, this would be the investigator that filed to get the child removed because it was in the same house. And she may possibly know what was going on. Then she says, jury is sent back out to, on the record, what he would have asked, jury, this is a typo, I don't know what it means, what he would have asked the investigator, and that it was confirmed Christina was seen in the child abuse materials, and goes through each charge saying those are considered violent crimes in South Carolina. So essentially, the defense is saying the abuse was happening, but the investigator didn't have the phone at the time with the images because the murder hadn't happened yet. So maybe trying to attack his investigation into the claims is my guess. She said the defense says they'd also ask that John Mello made a report suspecting his daughter was being abused. The witness saw the photos of the abuse from January 1st of 2018 until October 19th of 2021. Yet when Mello made the report, the investigator emailed John Mello that he was closing the case due to lack of probable cause. So then she says, then the defense is saying the abuse was happening, but so the defense was going to call the owner of a cigar bar who found more child abuse materials after Bradley Post's arrests. The judge won't allow the testimony, but the defense is summarizing what he would testify to for the record.
Excuse me? Like, how did he find more child stuff?
Right? And so they're not going to allow him to they're not going to allow him to testify.
Now I got to know why the bar person, is it the one she went to all the time?
Yeah, that cigar bar. So the state is summarizing that testimony that would have been given from the former guardian ad litem to the child, the investigator, and the owner of a cigar bar who found hard drives in Post's locker there. Okay.
I mean, that doesn't look great, right? Like, she's engaged in this stuff, and then the cigar bar she always went to, like, all of a sudden, like, has these pictures they say they found.
Well, he had a locker there, they said, the state's saying. That he had a locker at the cigar bar, and so they found these hard drives in the locker at the cigar bar. And it says another one would describe Christina in many of the photos with her daughter. So the defense goes through what they would have had one witness testify about what was found on Post devices, which is thousands of photos and hundreds of videos of the abuse of the child by her mother, Christina Parcell, and Bradley Post. Again, the judge isn't allowing Zach to bring the child abuse in for his defense, and the reasoning for killing was to protect her from her mother and Bradley Post.
Oh, I think that's a losing argument. I think that's stupid, especially if the judge is not letting any of this in. He can get up there with the intention of bringing this stuff up, but he's not going to let him. He's absolutely not going to let him. So he's going to say he's now already done told the jury that he did it, that he killed her, and now he's not going to be able to explain what was happening.
Says the judge advised Zach Hughes of his Fifth Amendment rights. And Hughes tells the judge he has decided he's going to testify. A forensic psychiatrist, Dr. David Corwin, has been called to the stand to offer proffered testimony. The testimony is outside of the jury's presence to preserve the record on appeal. Dr. Corwin specializes in long-term impact child sexual abuse has on the brain of a child.
So we don't get to hear none of that either.
No, we didn't get to hear any of that. This is just people that are in. This is now Jennifer Wood, who's with Fitz News. Based on motions being argued, it appears the defense is poised to present a defense of others' case. Judge says that there was not an imminent need for Hughes to act in the minor's defense, and Hughes traveled to the house and sought out Parcell, who he did not know, and he murdered her. So this is a motion that was filed by the defense, and it says John Mello fancies himself as a music industry personality, musician, and music producer. Christina Parcell was a prostitute who advertised on the internet and who sold drugs. Wonder what document this is. In 2012, they had a child together, a daughter. They never married, and Parcell did not seek custody of or even full visitation rights with. Mello had primary custody of the daughter for most of her first 11 years. However, Parcell had some visitation rights, and the daughter would often spend the night with Parcell during her periods of visitation. During these custody battles, Parcell developed a romantic relationship with a man named Brad Post, who was old enough to be Parcell's father, and so is Brad Post, or so is fucking Mello. So calm down with that. And who was or was at least perceived to be very wealthy. Parcell and Post ultimately got engaged. Post and Parcell's relationship greatly concerned Mello. Parcell's prior life as a prostitute and a drug distributor, coupled with Post's wealth and creepiness, prompted Mello to wonder if the daughter was safe when she was with Parcell and Post, and she was not. Post and Parcell sexually abused and victimized the daughter and another young girl, Mello reports. I want to see if we can find this document. I can't tell when it's actually filed. Can you share the entire motion? I wonder if she does. It's a 35-page document which requires some redaction. Working on that now. So this is from today. Susie, can you see if you can find that?
What do you want me to find?
This 35-page document that came out today.
Yes, let me look. In this case, correct?
Yeah. Christina's dad owned the cigar bar. Yes, but I don't know if that's who. I don't know if he was just a part. Yeah, he was part owner. Okay, you did say that down here. Thank you, Marshall. Yeah, so I don't know if it's him that finds this or if it's the other owners or whoever. They don't tell us the name. Yeah, a lot of people are thinking jury nullification. Okay, so let me see. Let me see what else she said. Mm-hmm. The defense of John Mello's daughter doesn't apply as she was not in imminent danger. The child was at school at the time of Parcells' murder. He should be able to defend himself in this case, just as the minor would have been able to defend herself against her mother or Bradley Post. According to Mormon, upon finding images on Bradley Post's phone, they took emergency custody of Parcells' daughter utilizing South Carolina code, which states the child was in imminent danger. His argument, if the state took her into emergency custody due to imminent danger, how are Hughes' actions different? Well, because he killed somebody. I don't know. I think that's probably different. The courtroom is packed today. Seating is extremely limited. Oh, that's interesting. So people are picking up on wanting to get in there and see what's going on.
Today, what is today? Is today the 18th?
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. That's weird because I see the filing. Sorry, it's loading.
Well, she said that there's a lot of redactions that have to be done, and they're working on it. But
I hate that. I mean, it's in a court filing. Like, I'm not going to redact a court filing. Sorry. Like, if I get,
yeah, no, it's
like, I'm
public.
not redacting it. If the court is giving it to me not redacted, I'm not redacting it. It says it's a.
She said it's 35 pages.
There must be a lot of people trying to get on this. All right, 11:48 a.m. Response to state's motion to prevent defendant from defending himself, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, but I think my struggle here is that if that's his defense, the judge isn't letting any of that stuff in. So
Yeah,
if you already know the judge isn't going to let that in, why do you still go down this path, I guess?
I don't know what he's thinking. Like, does he think he's going to get up there and all of a sudden they're not going to object and he's going to let them do it? Because that's not going to happen.
No.
And even if they just say that he was protecting the young daughter, I guess maybe not being able to go into it could help. I don't know.
But help on the appeal? I mean, is that all they're looking for at this point? Then I get it. Like, they still have to. I get it, Mika. I know they have to make I totally understand. I'm just struggling with the fact that if you know that you're not going to be able to use the defense that you're trying to use, why do you continue down that path, knowing he's not going to change his mind and let any of this stuff in?
Well, I'm just thinking if they go and they say like he was protecting the young daughter and not going into detail because he's not allowed to, and the state is objecting, maybe they're thinking that the jury will just like fill their heads with like what he could have possibly been protecting this little girl from. Especially after they've heard like the escort stuff and all that stuff. But I really don't know. I don't know if they'll let the jury leave and let him testify to things. I don't know. The cross-examination will be interesting too.
Yeah.
I wish they'd get on with it. I can't believe the whole day was wasted.
Well, they had that doctor on. They did a proffer on that doctor. I don't know why we couldn't hear that. That's ridiculous to me. Why couldn't the public hear that?
Well, why couldn't the public hear that when you have people from the public sitting in the courtroom that can hear?
Correct. It's not a closed hearing. I wanted to give Christina some of the benefit of the doubt because I think Mello is a fucking weirdo, But if the claims are true that she's in these videos posing the children, or one of the claims was that she was actually in bed with one of the children, then I'm done. I can't. There is no benefit for me. Like that's it. But I understand that if she's not in imminent danger, well, because the child's not home, well, I guess the whole thing would be, are you trying to prevent her from becoming in imminent danger? Yeah, I'd have to do a little bit of planning on that, Lacey. I'd have to pull up some stuff. But there's no CSAM at the time. This is the argument that I keep going back to. There's no CSAM at the time, just SA allegations. So I think that's what's causing the court to that, and the fact that he's not actually convicted of it, which is neither here nor there. But the CSAM is after the murder, so they don't know that there's CSAM. So that can't be part of his.
Maybe he's going to testify to the SA.
That's what I think should be let in, is the SA. But still, like you said, why does this rando have anything to do with it?
Well,
they're very credible allegations. The guy's going to be found guilty for sure. That's not it. My thing is that the CSAM isn't until after.
Yeah,
he doesn't have. Go ahead.
I think maybe they're going to get, like, he excluded the CSAM stuff. But I think that they're going to try, once he testifies, to get into the SA stuff, which if they're considering it different like you are, then maybe that will be allowed in.
They didn't really argue that, though. They just argued the CSAM.
Yeah, but because they would need other, like, I'm wondering if they would need other witnesses to talk about the CSAM. Like, maybe this guy saw evidence prior to, like, we're assuming he didn't know, we're assuming he didn't know about the CSAM or whatever, but maybe he did know. Like, maybe he was, like, for lack of a better word, like stalking or investigating her or whatever. Like, maybe he did know.
Maybe.
And so then he would be able to bring that in. You know, he would be able to testify to that as what he saw with his eyes.
Yeah, the defense never argued that in any of the pretrial stuff, that it was like, that everybody seems to concede that nothing of the CSAM was actually known until the 19th.
No, I'm talking about the SA.
Oh, the SA, yeah.
Like, if he can testify that he saw it or was directly told about it from the victim or something like that, then maybe they will be allowed to.
They said in this proffer that they were talking to, I think it was on Pretty Lies and Alibis. Let me go back.
That's really fucking annoying that they're gonna redact that. That annoys the shit out of me. But we could probably try to email the court.
But I think she said that hold on. Right here, so the defense says they'd also asked that John Mello made a report suspecting his daughter was being abused. The witness, who they're doing the proffer on, I don't know if that witness is the doctor or if it's the investigator. It seems like it's the investigator, I think. Of the abuse from January 1st, 2018 to October 19th of 2021, which is right after the murder. But any of this stuff from January 1st, 2018 on to the murder. Yet when Mello made the report, the investigator emailed John Mello that he was closing the case due to lack of probable cause.
Wait, what did he see? What did he see after the murder?
Well,
so
the investigator, that Beville, who was supposed to be investigating the SA charges, who closes out the case, he's supposed to be investigating him and he just doesn't. He says there's no probable cause. But so there's supposedly photos that were shown to the investigator that were dated from January 1st, 2018 up until the photos that were found after. I'd say get rid of that and go to October 13th or October.
Well, I'm just saying, if it continued after that, perhaps they closed it because they didn't have probable cause because she died. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, we don't know the date that he emailed. Well, we don't know the date that he emailed and said there's no probable cause. But if there's photos of abuse dating well before the murders, this is what I'm trying to figure out. You see what I mean? Why could, if there's actual proof of the allegations, there's photos, there's all of this of the alleged SA prior to the murder, why is that not being allowed in for his defense? Even if I think it's a stupid defense, which I do. Okay, here we go. Okay, so essentially the defense is saying the abuse was happening, but the investigator didn't have the phone at the time with the images because the murder hadn't happened yet. So he's saying, okay, so the photos that he's showing him, they don't actually, again, there is no photos until after the murder. Okay, I get it now. So the investigator had not seen any of these photos until October 19th.
But then she says, someone said, why did the investigator or someone from the PD, or why didn't the investigator or someone from the PD interview the daughter? Instead, it's just case closed, no probable cause. And they said, I'm not clear on how that went because it's family court and that stuff is sealed. We just heard it was reported and nothing came of it. And also, that doesn't make much sense because he said he started reporting it in 2017.
That's what I want in, is whatever they were showing from 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, that made him go, because he, in one of those documents he says in October he just took her because he's like, this is ridiculous. Nobody's going to help me. Where's all of that? I think that should all come in. Anything that he reported, any evidence that he showed, any conversations that the daughter had, I think all of that should come in. We don't know that she was dating him. We don't know that, but just that they had a close, quote unquote, close relationship. Did they get close because he was spending so much time with her investigating? Maybe he had a close relationship with Post too. Don't know.
Apparently, there are a ton of witnesses that are not allowed to testify in front of the jury. So, it might be days before we get to one that we can actually listen to.
I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm. See, they're proffering a child psychiatrist. That was 50 minutes ago. They said, yeah, they're proffering a child psychiatrist now. Well, Rick's defense that he wasn't allowed to call or proffer was other people committing the murder, whereas this is trying to call people to justify the murder. Yeah, I too wonder if I wonder if the daughter said this to the father and Zach overheard, maybe, or the daughter said it directly to Zach, or now if they've confirmed, I don't know if I thought I heard Teresa saying that they were in a relationship, but she might have been talking about Christina and Mello.
Who? When? What?
You were reading something earlier about their relationship, but I think you were talking about Christina and Mello.
Well, supposedly this Beville and her had a relationship, but nobody clarified what that relationship was.
But there was no anything in the testimony we haven't been able to hear where they connect Zach and oh shit. If I break these glasses, I am done for. I need to order another pair before that happens. But has anybody, even in the witnesses we haven't heard from, have they testified? Has there been any testimony that Zach and Mello were in a relationship?
Just the they say relationship, that they had a relationship, and then they talk about the emails where they respond to each other with "I love you" and "I love you back."
Yeah, but that's weird to me. Again, there's something.
But
Like,
nobody's
weird.
ever said it's a sexual or romantic relationship. They've not clarified it. That's just what they've said.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm still not convinced that, like, the accounts that we think are Mello's are actually Isabella's talking to him.
Oh, I see what you mean. That she's just like on the WhatsApp as Mello.
Yeah. Or emailing as Mello or whatever.
Oh, I didn't read the footnotes. So the defense counsel will seek to introduce an affidavit prepared by Alex Fields, a firefighter in Greenville County, who told members of the GCSO that Parcell offered to have sex with him for money, and when he refused, she attempted to sell him drugs.
What?
Members
so before he died?
Yeah, apparently.
Wow.
Members of the GCSO has used the daughter to describe the minor child in document, or AM to describe the minor child in documents it has filed publicly, and defense counsel has adopted this practice in this motion for the purpose of protecting the minor child's identity and privacy.
See, this is what I'm saying. Maybe he did, like, try to get evidence against her by setting up some type of date.
Maybe. I have no idea.
But then, I mean, he's already said that his defense is that he was defending another. And she wasn't there. But I guess he could argue that, like, the reason he was there and stuff was to defend another. Like, I don't know.
But that's when they're saying that she was not in imminent danger, so then he can't use that.
I'm just really wanting to know why the fuck we can't hear all these people that are testifying.
I don't.
Like, you tell them, okay, you know, well, even if you're like, okay, don't say the minor's name. And it's like, well, we've already said the minor's name, like, over and over again. So we already know. And also so, like, if you would have thought about that ahead of time, then do you know what I mean? But, like, everybody already knows.
Let me see if Gigi put anything out. Doesn't look like it.
What you know, Alibars, want to give you a quick update in the Rose Petal murder trial. Been a wild morning, lots of arguments. So the bottom line is that Zach is going to use a defense of others defense. Christina Parcell's daughter was going to take the stand in Zach's defense, but the judge says that the defense of others defense isn't valid here because the child was in school at the time her mother was killed and therefore wasn't in imminent danger. Defense had their openings just a little while ago, told the jury he killed her and he's going to get on the stand and tell you why. Will he spill the beans even though it's not supposed to come in? Not sure he has much to lose. We'll see. But that's it. So look for Zachary Hughes to take the stand maybe later this afternoon, possibly tomorrow. There is a witness coming in at 1:30. The reason we took the lunch should have been Christina's daughter on the stand if the judge allowed it. But no, we are waiting on another witness. I will keep you posted. I'll do a recap tonight. We'll see you soon.
So the daughter was going to take the stand and defend Zach and say all this stuff was being done to her. She's like 12, 13 years old. Wow. I guess I didn't pick up on the fact that the daughter was actually going to testify on behalf of Zach.
What you know, alibis. Hope you're having a good day. Just wanted to update you on what happened after lunch in the Rose Petal murder trial. The judge did not allow streaming, but
this is the other day.
Zachary Hughes came in the courtroom dressed in his jail uniform. He was asked to stand, and the judge informed him of his right to testify. He's going to take some time over the weekend to talk to his attorneys and his family, and we should know something next week. The state did rest today, so we're getting into the defense case on Tuesday. No court on.
All right. So the daughter was going to testify on Zach's behalf.
What?
All right. Let me go back and see if they've updated this at all on if they're going to give us this document or not, redacted or not. Did you get any update on that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Wait, where'd the comment go about all the redactions? That's gone now. Why is that gone? Oh, here, it's a 35-page document which requires some redaction. Working on that now. So that's it. That's all we got. I like that John Mello fancies himself as a music industry personality. Many people have questioned what the hell Mello and or Post does for a living, because they don't seem to actually have any source of income. Like, where's all this money coming from? All right, well, I don't got anything else then. We don't have the document to go over, so I guess we just wait for tomorrow and see what he says on the stand. Hopefully we actually get to see most of court. You have any other thoughts, Sleuth?
No, not really. I wish we could have saw more today.
Yeah, no kidding. I would have liked to have heard all of that. We did that at the beginning, Miku. We raged about the Karen Reed hearing at the beginning of this. All right, well, I guess we'll wrap it up then. Short day. What's done is done. Yeah, thank you guys. If you guys aren't subscribed to Pretty Lies and Alibis, well, I think you're missing out anyway, because I think that she's a great asset to have in the courtroom. So make sure you guys are subscribed to her. I guess if we get that document, we can read it tomorrow. He's going to testify and say he did it, but not be able to say why he did it. I think that's just ridiculous. All right, well, I wrap it up. I guess we'll see you guys mañana. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. And if anything pops off later, I guess maybe I'll pop back in. I don't really have a ton of plans tonight. So just dinner. So if anything pops off with anything else, maybe we'll be back. Thank you guys for hanging out with us for day 5 of the state of South Carolina versus Zachary Hughes. And go enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. I'll probably see you around the YouTube streets. Love you, Sleuthy. Thank you.
Of course, I love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Aww.
Do you dare to fall?